sense application. And we created it specifically so that we could look at employee populations across the university. One of the things we found when we would meet with different colleges and schools and units and talk about their HR population relative to their overall employee population was that there were a lot of different concepts of what entailed an employee population. For example, do we include students? Do we include non-paids? Simply looking at FTE, for example, can be very inaccurate in a university setting because if you have people who are, in fact, non-paid employees, they actually can be very time-consuming. We have whole areas that bring in mass cohorts of non-paid employees from other countries. They do visas for them. They do a lot of work to bring them here, but they're non-paid, so they technically are 0 FTE. And so this dashboard was created so that we could begin to look at employee populations by different types. So we have salaried, we have wage, and as you can see, we can just pick, if we just want to look at our wage population, all of the numbers change dynamically as we pick wage. We can see male, female, the age breakdown, and the ethnic origin of employees. And then you see total employees by employee categorization. This was a concept we had to create for Qlik because our categories, for example, wage is considered an employee type in Oracle. But wage includes wage students. It includes faculty wage, who in other universities are sometimes referred to as adjunct employees, but we don't typically use that term at UVA. We have graduate student workers, temps, staff wage, and for us, these are really very different populations. Temps and staff wage are similar, but employed differently. The temps group is the only people who can bring temps into the university. Staff wage can be brought in anywhere, but they have to be competitively recruited. We have UVA retirees, medical centers, and others. So this is our wage population, and as you can see, by defining employee categorization, we've been able to break them out more holistically. And the nice thing about Qlik is I can just hit students. We can look at the 5,800 students that are currently categorized as student wage in the system. You can see what area they're in. For example, arts and sciences has 1,680 of them. Athletics actually employs a vast majority of our student population, 1,570. And the nice thing about this tool is you can then click through. This actually works very much like an Excel pivot table, and then you can go to the back, and you will actually have the full list of who those students are, all 5,800, just by having selected wage and wage students. Ignore that. And what we see is you can see their salary, where they are, where they're based. Many of these actually are unpaid, which means they have a secondary appointment somewhere else. So this is Qlik is a really powerful tool. And what it allowed us to do was, instead of having these arguments in meetings, if we were meeting, let's say, with the School of Medicine, we could just click on the School of Medicine. And now we get all our statistics are related just to the School of Medicine. Again, ignore that. So we have all the different organizations in the School of Medicine. We have the different employee categorizations. So you can see that the School of Medicine technically has almost 5,000 employees, which has actually gone up since the time I've been there. You can look at the non-paid faculty. We could just click on this. And now, again, dynamically, now we are just looking at School of Medicine non-paid faculty. And that 1,220 of them, and we can click through to the back, and you will get a full list of who those people are. So what this allowed us to do is much more dynamically and readily respond to the needs of our customers, who, when we would run reports and say, you have 200 employees, and they would say, well, what does that mean, and have you included this or that, and when did you run that report? Again, a major portion of our population is transient to some degree if they're tied to being a student here. And so it really depends what time of year you run your reports will return totally different numbers. But if we wanted to, for example, just look at the employee population that was salaried and benefited, what we could do is, for one thing, actually, let's take all these off. Many people at the university have secondary assignments. And secondary assignments are a big deal. They really drive a huge part of our population. So you can see here total assignments, both primary and non-primary, for the university is 30,000, almost 31,000. But if we go here and we just select yes, then all of a sudden our employee population really has dropped to 23,000. So this would be actual people. This is just their primary assignments. So secondary assignments are a huge portion of the HR work at the university. A secondary assignment is not as much maintenance or effort on behalf of the HR population, but they are still a significant portion of work that a private organization in private industry, it's unheard of. You just don't have these multifaceted identities where let's actually even just look at secondary assignments, right? And let's say, back out. So now we're just going to look at the people with their secondary assignments. So if I go into the School of Medicine, you have 663 people with secondary assignments. Well, what does that look like? Go to the back and start to look through at who those people are. They're predominantly non-paid faculty as a secondary assignment. So that would be Mary Preston probably has her, she's actually a UVA retiree, potentially has a primary assignment somewhere else, and this is a secondary assignment which gives her access into a specific department or area. Their orgs. Look at probably microbiology, I think. So those. So this is a really dynamic tool that allowed us to dive into employee population in a very quick and responsive manner, and really to meet the needs of our customers. So if you were in a meeting with somebody and they wanted to say, I want to see all the employees in, let's do the School of Medicine only, and then let's look for an org. So who are the 23 employees in this org? Let's go back. It is pediatrics, developmental, and then you'll get just a list of the people in that org. So again, this was a great way, I think, to use an existing product. This cost us no money to implement. It was just time consuming, determining the employee categorizations that more appropriately fit how people think about populations and manage populations, as opposed to what it says in Oracle, which can be very confusing. And then also to decide how we wanted to build the slicers, what sort of information we wanted on this first page. But this has been an incredibly useful tool for us.